Welcome back. My name is Steve.
My name's Madison.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Steve. And this is Streaming Yellowjackets Season 3, Episode 5. Did Tai do that?
Did she?
Listener, you might know that Kit Laser is not here today. He had a family emergency he had to attend to, so he's not going to be on the recordings this week, or at least on this and Game of Thrones, but we're going to soldier on because we have an awesome crew with us to handle in his stead. Madison, Andy, how are you both today?
Doing good.
I am awful.
Oh, you're awful.
Forgot about the time change.
Yeah,
I'm
the time.
hungover, having a bad time.
The time change did fuck me up big time. Came out of nowhere.
I'm happy to be here. It's a good time.
Yeah.
We have this beautiful new studio that Steve put together for us. People can't really see it.
Yeah.
But splash image edited in, Steve.
Boom.
There's the studio.
Yeah. New table, new lights.
It's pretty dope.
New setup. Steve did an awesome job.
Well, thank you guys. Yeah,
it's beautiful.
If you're watching on video, you can't really tell, but this is all for us. Like, it's a new table. We have a lot more room to stretch out. Madison and Kit aren't going to be on top of each other when we record anymore.
I mainly was like, I don't want to be touching Kit anymore.
I understand
He's
that.
Stinky. I can't deal with it anymore.
Andy and I are like 10 feet away from each other now, which is kind of awkward.
This is weird.
I feel like we're at like in the movies when there's like a very like high society dinner table and they're seated on opposite ends of a long ass table.
I like to think you guys are on a date and there's just this big ass flower bouquet in the middle, so you can't actually see each other, but you are talking.
Steve and I, we can't hold hands anymore.
I know. We used to be able to like go under and get each other under the
Just
table.
like Mr. Fantastic, extend your legs and play footsies.
Ooh, here we go. Oh, I think that's Madison. Oh no.
Oh, yikes.
Abort. Dude, speaking of the time change, because it messed me up too. Last night, the boys are here this weekend. And so Erica and I are telling the boys like, okay, the time changes tomorrow. So it's actually going to be like earlier. And the boys are like, why do we do this? And it was one of those things where you're looking at the kid and you're like, I don't know, man.
Well, did it?
I mean, there's the whole thing with the farmers and the history of it, but it's still one of those things like, why do we do it?
Well, well, wasn't there something, I think, was it Congress or the Senate? Everyone voted to change it.
Yeah.
But then it like nothing ever came of it.
Yeah.
But I was
they're like, oh shit, we got to do something actually to make it happen.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. But I like it when time goes forward because it's not pitch dark when you wake up. Or no. It's the opposite. It's like much later in the evening, which I'm all for because I hate when it gets super dark around like 5 o'clock.
Yeah. You're like leaving work and it's night out. You're like, God, I didn't get to see the sun.
Yeah. And I'm like,
I think I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah, literally. It's like, okay, seasonal depression.
Well, speaking of seasonal depression, Kit's not here, like we said. Which usually means when the kit's away, the mice do play. When Madison, you are a little new to this ritual that Andy and I do.
Yeah, I think I maybe have only done it one other time, but it's been a while.
So if you're an unaware listener, when Kit's not here, Andy and I will drink shots of Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey. And we call the episodes a Creamin' It. So this is Yellowjackets Creamin' It edition. Are you all ready to do our first shot of the day?
Oh, I've been ready.
Should we cheers the cameras?
Cheers, cameras.
Cheers, cameras.
To you.
Oh, God.
Ooh. Ooh. How was it, Madison?
Oh, my God. So good.
So good it burned.
Well, I was telling you guys I had taken, because of the time change, the coffee shop I go to, I always get a dirty chai. And the woman told me, she was like, yeah, usually our espresso is like 2 shots of espresso. So I went up to the counter and I was like, hey, can I get like an extra dirty chai? She was like, so you want 4 shots of espresso? And I was like, yeah.
You fucking psycho.
Yeah.
I'm nasty.
And so now I'm like hyper jazzed up from the coffee and then taking this.
What a bitch. Why is she going to judge like that?
I just was like, hey, leave me alone. Time change really fucked me up.
4 shots of espresso.
4 shots.
Okay, slut.
There was a dude that would come. I used to be a barista or barrister or whatever.
That tracks.
And there was a dude and he would come in and I would call what he got the heart attack every time he came in because it was like 5 shots of espresso.
Jesus.
It was a white chocolate mocha with half and half instead of milk and extra pumps of the white chocolate syrup in it and a little bit of caramel as well. Like it was an intense drink. So I never was like, what the fuck's wrong with you? But I thought it,
To be fair,
you're going to die.
This is the first time I've ever done something like this. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how the next couple of hours treat me. And then we'll see if I do it again.
Well, listener, let us know if you catch Madison.
Yeah. My eyes are just like shaking back and
She's
forth.
like shaking.
Yeah.
her camera is slightly vibrating.
Yeah. Edit and post.
Yeah. Put a image stabilizer on it.
Yeah.
Well, guys, let's talk about Yellowjackets season 3. And, okay, sorry.
I'm kidding.
Did Tai do that? Episode 5. So what we're going to do, if you're new, we're going to go into overall thoughts, do a scene-by-scene recap of the show, and then at the end we have a couple fun segments. Our choice cuts, our top 3 favorite moments, and our honeycombs. If we found any cool like little 90s Easter eggs throughout the episode, we'll mention those. And then lastly, we will do our buzzworthy performance, our favorite performance of the episode. So stay tuned for that. We also have more content for you to enjoy on patreon.com/streaming things, where we're covering Midnight Mass this week, starting this week. We just wrapped up doing Arcane with Madison. And a whole lot of other fun stuff. We did an Equilibrium episode that was hilarious. I think it's one of our best ones of the year so far. Personally, I don't know. I don't know what
a little biased.
I don't know what the community thinks, but for me, that was one of my favorite episodes we've done this year. But yeah, go and support us there. Write in on streamingthingspod@gmail.com if you want to get in contact with us. But let's get into it, gang. I want to know
deep
what your guys' overall thoughts were for this episode. Let's start with you, Madison. What'd you think?
So I'm bringing back my few words, no context. I actually got a message on Instagram to someone who was like, hey, I miss when you do that. So I'm going to bring them back. So for this episode, and for those of you who don't know, I like to just pick either it's a line or like something from the show and just like say them like a few words, but no context for like what they actually mean. So I have lollipop.
Lollipop.
Penetrating the system. And forgive me if I say this incorrectly, chocolate rougolach?
I have no idea.
She said it in the episode and I didn't know what it was.
Yeah,
I'll
but
be honest with you.
it's like something that Misty had given Mr. Matthews. But
a dessert of some kind.
Yes, a dessert. So those are my a few words, no context. My overall thoughts for this episode, I had a good time. I think it was very entertaining. I really liked the detective foreplay between Misty and Walter.
You gotta love foreplay.
Yeah. But I would say it was a little clunky for me. Like I felt like there were a lot of things where I was like, oh, okay, like interesting that this is now happening. And then, oh, okay, like this is happening now. Like it felt like they were springing things on us. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is happening, whatever. I know we've touched on it before where there's kind of like a disconnect between the young timeline and the adult timeline. And for some reason, I don't know why, but it was annoyingly obvious this episode for me, especially with Shauna and with Tai. I was like, I don't know. I feel like they're two completely different characters. I mean, granted, like they are like there's an adult and a young person, like people change.
Yeah, there's
but
like 30 years of growth for them.
Yeah. But I think, I don't know, in the world of storytelling, I'm like, they seem like so polar opposite people. So that was a little obnoxious for me. But overall, I mean, this episode was fun. I had a good time. Still waiting for Hilary Swank to show up.
How the fuck is she not in the show yet?
No idea.
We need to start a segment at the top of the show called Swank Watch, where we're just like, is she here?
Swank Watch.
No. It was funny. I actually watched this episode on Tuesday of this week.
Yeah.
And I texted Andy because I needed his like password to get into the screener site and everything. And he's like, if Hilary Swank's not in this episode, I'm going to fucking riot. Yeah. And I like watched the episode. I'm like, yeah, buddy, sure. Hope she's in it.
Yeah. And like I like how I feel like this episode, they were kind of like playing into like, maybe she's going to show up, especially when Shauna was like tailing Misty, but then Walter was tailing Shauna, and we were like, it wasn't revealed that it was Walter, so we were like, oh, is it Hilary? Is it her? Oh my gosh. But yeah,
she loves hula cats.
Yeah. Overall, like I said, I had a good time with this episode. It definitely feels like a middle of the road episode for a season. Like nothing crazy happened, but also it wasn't like a complete like bust or like a dull episode, but definitely not my favorite.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Andy, what about you?
What about me? What do I think? Hilary Swank is not in this episode.
So a riot will be had.
A riot will be had. It's mind blowing to me at this point. I'm very sad. I don't understand. Honestly, I do think that this is actually a pretty great episode. I had fun with it. I get what you mean about the disconnect between the characters. It does feel like we're kind of watching two completely separate TV shows at this point. But I mean, I'm still having a good time. I enjoyed what was happening more on the young timeline than the old. I particularly liked the almost execution that we got. But I had some fun with the present day stuff too. I thought that the whole sequence in Lottie's dad's house was fun and interesting. The detective foreplay, love that. That was awesome. And also like kind of heartbreaking. Like Walter's like trying to make her toes curl, you know, he's just trying to do Walter things to get Misty out of her funk, and it's just not working. And like that moment when he's like, see you around, Agent Gray or whatever, I like teared up a little bit. I was like, oh man, like he's losing his girl.
Yeah.
I want them to be together. It's fun pitting them against each other, but I want them on the same side. I thought that it was actually really strong, like suspense with the almost execution. Like this is the most like, oh my God, somebody's in danger I felt for this show, maybe ever with Ben. I'm like, please don't hurt him. And like when he's begging and stuff, when they're putting the hood on him, and
That's
like when I think it's Jen, like, it's like, you don't deserve that. When he's like, you got to look me in the eye.
Yeah,
I was
what the
like,
fuck, Jen?
That was fucking dark,
insane.
man.
You spell your name with a G. You don't deserve that, Jen. Okay?
Yeah, again, his name's escaping me, but the dude that plays Coach Scott is fucking crushing.
Steven Kruger.
Steven Kruger is crushing. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with this episode. And I cannot wait for the next one because Hilary Swank will be in it.
You heard it here third. Andy saying Hilary Swank next episode.
I'm calling my shots.
Confirmed. Yeah, this was a fun episode for the most part. Like, I do think the whole Shauna teaming up with Walter was such a unexpected and welcome surprise. Like, I didn't think they would put those two characters together. And when it was like, oh, they're going to do a team up. Oh, I wonder how this is going to work out. And it worked out great. Like, I love that Shauna was sort of all in on it. Like her sort of character journey has kind of been really weird this season. But I think this is the first time this season, at least, where adult Shauna's story kind of started taking steps in a direction that I was like genuinely like interested in. Like meaning her and Walter's sort of dynamic was really funny. But then when she had that interaction with Lottie's dad, like there's something going on there. There's some sort of regret that she's having, some condoning for her actions that's going on there. And I like seeing that beginning. It was the first time that they've actually given Melanie Lynskey something that was fun to do and also emotionally gratifying for me, at least, to do in this season. So that was good to see. I was happy to see that Simone and Sammy showed back up. Like, they didn't just completely forget about those characters. And then the whole scene that you mentioned, Annie, with Coach Ben being possibly executed was there's a lot of tension and drama there. The one thing I do want to say about this episode, the one bad thing about it is that there is a little bit of a one step forward, two steps back sort of deal happening in a lot of these situations. So the fun, like, we're in a rich person's house doing detective work thing is fun and a good time. But there's something about the production design and set design of that whole sequence in particular that really was rubbing me, like, it was taking me out of it. Like, they're obviously not at a person's house. Like, literally, I think one of the scenes where they're hacking into the computer, it's like you're in an elevator hallway. I can see elevators behind you. And I know there's elevators in rich people's houses, but they don't look like that. They don't look, it was very clearly not an actual house, but like the interior of a hotel hallway in a lot of scenes. And that was pulling me out of that a little bit. I'm not sure most people would pick up on that, but like, as someone who's filmed a lot in hotels, like, I know what they look like, and I'm like,
it didn't feel like someone's home.
Yeah. And also it's just kind of weird that they're just running around Scooby-Doo style, and then like the old man's like, what are you doing here? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then his caretaker's like, I'm taking out the trash. What are you doing here? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're all right. You're clearly in the Geek Squad.
Dude, I fucking died when Shauna knocked on the concrete wall. It's like, sounds hollow to me.
Yeah. Well, like I said, like the what's happening in the scene and what the actors are doing and the writing of the scene, I think works. It's just the setting is working against them there, unfortunately. And then there's a couple other weird sort of pacing issues with the episode. Like I think the moment with Coach Ben and Tai has the gun on him and it's really dramatic. Are they going to go through with it? And then Lottie and Travis and Akilah show up and save him at the last minute. That was a really powerful moment. And then they immediately go to Shauna and Melissa cutting his ankles. It sort of felt like we went through this thing and then they reset it on us. And I felt like there should have been something to go in between those moments. Yeah. But they were back to back. Yeah. That's a small quibble though. But I mean, overall, I did think this was a fun episode. I'm still not a huge fan of what they did to adult Lottie, but I'm glad that they're at least making the most out of it. If that was the decision they're going with, they're seemingly at least doing some fun, interesting things with that storyline, having Misty try to solve it and bringing the citizen detectives back. Take a shot, Madison.
We'll tally him up and I'll do it at the end.
Yeah. Madison came over and said, we need to do a shot every time they say citizen detectives in this episode because it's a lot.
I may regret my decision.
We're going to die.
Literally.
All right. Well, before we get into the recap, let's take a quick break to hear some messages from sponsors. And we're back. Let's get into the recap. But Paramount Plus / Showtime. I don't know how to quite say that. It's a weird situation that Yellowjackets is
Paramount Plowtime.
Paramount Plowtime? Yeah. Okay, I like that. Paramount Plowtime describes the episode Did Tai Do That thusly. The Yellowjackets confront the reality of having to pull an old yeller. Which I got to say, before we get into the episode.
Hilary Swank is not in the episode.
She's just up at the top. She's not in here. I love the little bit of honeycombs we got just in the title and the synopses. Like Did Tai Do That? Maybe one of the best episode titles of all time. Just saying.
Why am I missing out?
It's a Family Matters. Steve Urkel. Did I do that? And then Van and Ty are talking about Steve Urkel later on.
Okay.
Stefan or Kel.
I did not pick that up. I was interpreting it as did Tai do that, meaning did Tai kill Lottie?
Well, I think it's a double.
Well, yes. But I didn't gather the Family Matters pool.
Not a Family Matters fan, Madison?
I think.
Do you even know who Stefan is?
Yes, I know. I know about the Family Matters characters, but it wasn't a part of my TV. Yeah, when I was younger, wasn't watching. I
remember we were in our 20s, like mid 20s, like maybe 25, and friend of the pod Phil bought all of Family Matters on DVD. He would just watch it on repeat. Like, how's Family Matters going,
Phil
man?
Like that. Don't expose him.
Oh, yeah, he's proud. He would be like, "You guys want to borrow my box set?"
I love it. No, I'm
like Family Matters rocks.
I'm familiar with Family Matters, but I don't think it was part of my everyday watch history when I was younger.
It is a great show.
Would it pop up on Nickelodeon or not Cartoon Network?
Not Cartoon Network. It might. I don't think
it was like late night Nickelodeon.
Like ABC or something, wasn't it?
Well, like reruns of the show. I feel like came on like it was either like late night Nickelodeon or
like middle of the day Fox 19.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, because the only time I ever watched it was when it was like, oh, there's like nothing else on.
Yeah, I remember watching it when I was sick. Like watched Springer, People's Court, Maury. And then Family
Price is Right.
Price is Right.
I didn't get into the game shows.
No?
Yeah, it wasn't until I was much older when I got to
Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh, well, Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Love that. Love that show.
It's a great show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, not to derail further, but...
Well, yeah, did Tai Do That? Is a Family Matters thing.
I see. Now
Spoilers
I'm caught
for
up.
Honeycombs.
Now I'm caught up. Okay.
Well, we start the episode off. Misty is at the coroner's office. She's getting all of Lottie's personal effects. I guess the coroner is a fellow citizen detective named Fred, and he's kind of doing this illegally. He's letting Misty in as a fellow citizen detective to go through all the things and kind of get all this information about Lottie. Did you guys pick up on anything during this episode?
I picked up that there was a wiener shot in there just for you, Steve.
Was there?
Yeah.
I missed the wiener.
You missed the wiener.
Was there a dead wiener in the foreground?
There was a dead wiener in the foreground.
I missed it too.
Oh,
wow.
Well.
All right, we got to pause the episode.
Andy was looking for it.
I was so focused
on where are the wieners?
Show me that dick.
Where are the wieners?
See it. I thought it was weird. So Misty, I love how Misty has like little like Ziploc baggies, and she's putting all the evidence in her own little Ziploc baggies.
Yeah.
And there was they did this really cool thing that I thought was a nice touch where they kept cutting back to like young teen Lottie and teen Misty in this. I thought that was very effective. I think they should do that more sometimes.
Yeah, the cutting back and forth between the two of them was fucking awesome. I also love that she like came prepared to like blackmail this guy. Like, a year ago there was that case, super expensive watch ended up on eBay. Must have made a killing off that, huh, Fred? And anyway, I thought that was awesome.
I liked that, yeah.
I also just love the idea that there's all these citizen detectives around town, you know?
Just breaking laws for each other in the
There's
name
so
of
much
justice.
crime where they live. There has to be citizen detectives everywhere.
True. That's everything is legal in New Jersey. After that, Misty gathers Tai, Van, and Shauna at her house to break the news to them that Lottie is dead.
No.
Yeah, it's the first time they've all been hearing it. Van in particular is kind of like, she can't be. She's Lottie.
Yeah.
She can't be dead. But yeah, Misty's showing them the crime scene photos, saying it's ruled accidental. They say she fell down the stairs, but something seems fishy about this, you guys.
Mm-hmm. And Shauna's like, where were you yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
Man, Shauna is just going all in on fucking Misty lately.
She really is. It's kind of like, dude, get off her nuts. What the
Seriously.
fuck?
But it's also like not really logistically sound, which has been very annoying. Like, I guess
She's being proved wrong at every turn, but it like doubles down each time.
Yeah. And I'm like, are you just, again, I don't really understand it, but I'm like, okay.
Like, even in this scene, Shauna's at one point like, I went to volunteer with you yesterday, Misty, and then I got locked in a freezer and you were gone. But everyone said you had been gone for 6 hours, so it couldn't have been you. Isn't that right, Misty? Like, yeah, well, that wasn't me. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I don't know if Shauna is just like pinning it on Misty just to pin it on somebody, but yeah, it's a little strange.
Yeah, it's so frustrating because like we, the audience, know 100% it's not Misty, and she as a character should also be thinking of someone else at this point.
I definitely think it was another Yellowjacket though. Like I do think one of them killed Lottie.
Yeah, it's got to be fucking Hillary Swank.
Oh.
Well, there's a lot of suspects. Sure, it could be Hillary Swank, whoever that is. It could be Tai. It could be Shauna who did it.
I think it's Tai. I think it's other Tai.
Sleepy Time Tai?
Sleepy Time Tai, because there was a lot of alluding to like her tuning into that other person this episode. And so part of me, and Van even like brings it up in the next scene and is like, where were you for that hour?
Yeah.
And, Tai makes up this bullshit where she was like, oh,
It's New York, baby.
Yeah, needed, to prepare for our date and whatever. But yeah, I think it's a little interesting. I think it's a little strange that Tai had that little hour.
It could even be Walter.
Yeah.
It could be. I hope not.
Yeah.
He's got those murder people gloves, you know?
That's true.
Yeah.
He's already murdered one dude.
No one wears those gloves unless they're ready to do some murder.
Yeah. But yeah, I would be bummed if he was the one that did it though.
Yeah. But when Misty storms out of her own house,
that was funny.
It's fucking comedy gold.
Van was like, did Misty just walk out of her own house?
That was so. And then the fact that she comes back and she's like, okay, you guys gotta go.
Yeah.
You guys gotta leave. We cut the titles from there. After we get back from the titles, Akilah is with a goat. My first question was, where did they get a goat?
Yeah.
But Ben's there. Ben, it's almost like Ben knew exactly I was going to ask that because he's like, oh, is that from the mom you found yesterday that was dead? Or whatever like that. Oh, you found that goat yesterday? Now you got a goat? Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sound writing.
Right.
Where the fuck did they get goats?
I don't know. I mean, I guess there's goats in the Canadian wilderness, I guess.
Wander around?
I don't know.
I'm not too well versed on wild goats. I always assumed they lived in mountainous regions, but I guess they're kind of close to a mountainous region, I guess.
Yeah.
The Canadian wilderness.
I don't know. I'm not super familiar, but I mean, I guess it would make sense, but also, yeah.
It's just kind of funny.
But now I'm thinking logistically, like if they had live animals, would that attract like
predators?
Yeah.
Like the bear would come back?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. Whatever.
The bear's family told everyone else about the mean bitches that stabbed their mom in the face in season 1.
They said, yeah, let's not go over there. Let's
some,
avoid them.
Some bad ladies over there.
Yeah.
I'll fuck you up. But Ben says like, hey, that goat's going to need some special feeding. I would know. My mom fostered kittens. Very similar animal.
Super similar.
Have you ever like had a goat? You put a glass of water on the table. That goat's gonna knock that glass over. You know,
That goat is purring heavily.
that goat's gonna wake you up at 6 a.m. because it wants breakfast.
It's gonna swatter your face.
Bah. We cut back to adult Misty going through Lottie's things, but her cell phone's missing, which is kind of a suspect. Like, ooh, what's that all about? We go back to the teens. They're all discussing what to do with Ben. Like they found him guilty last episode. He definitely burnt down the cabin, you guys. How are we going to exact his punishment?
Shauna wants to fucking burn him at the stake. Okay, fucking psycho. Like, Jesus. How's nobody
It's
fucking
like
calling her out?
Like this is what has been making me mad. Like young Shauna is just so like ruthless and like it's so hard to watch her sometimes. And in this episode in particular, she just is so mad. I'm like, chill out.
Do you think she's doing that negotiating tactic where she throws out something so wild and outlandish that you would meet her halfway into something that's more devastating than you would have probably picked? Like,
Maybe.
We're not going to burn him alive, but sure, we'll burn him with acid. Let's meet us halfway here, Shauna.
Maybe.
Dude, I don't know. I agree with you. She's hard to watch. I saw this behind the scenes thing with the actress that plays Shauna recently. And like, she's just this sweet, normal girl. And like, I'm never the guy that like projects the character onto the actor like some psychos are. But when she was doing that, all the behind the scenes stuff, I was like, I kind of felt it. I was like, you're an evil, fucking terrible person.
You're an evil bitch.
Andy, don't fall down the dark side.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't start doxing her.
Sending her hate mail and shit.
But it's just in comparison to like her in season 1 and season 2, she's like definitely leaning into this more like evil behavior than usual. And so I think it's just like very jarring to see. And it's major juxtaposition to adult Shauna in some respect. I mean, adult Shauna is pretty crazy, but
I think they're eventually going to lead to young Shauna because she's so mad at herself and what they've already done that she's just looking to punish anybody because I think there's a lot of guilt there and she wants them to be punished. But like Ben's just the scapegoat where she's like, I just want to fucking murder one of you. And Ben's the one I can get away with it for. And then Melanie Linsky, adult Shauna, is going through I think her journey this season is more of like, man, that was fucked up. I made some bad decisions and I feel bad about it. I ate my best friend. I'm still sad about that too.
yeah.
But yeah, she wants to burn him at the stake. I don't know if we talked about this that much, but Lottie says like, we have to kill Ben. It's what the wilderness wants. Travis drew some things. It's just like the drawing.
Yeah.
Which was...
That drawing kind of came out of nowhere.
It's like 3 figures on the ground and then one
Guys, he was drunk.
He
was drunk.
I opened up some pappy.
I was blasted when I drew that.
And I just grabbed my finger paints and I went down on that paper, man.
What the fuck?
Went down on it.
I went down on it. I practiced my ABCs and drew this thing. It's 3 stick people looking at another stick person. That's Ben. We gotta go down on Ben. I volunteer.
It's the result.
I should be the one that does it.
See, these 3 are the babes.
The babes.
God.
Oh my God. Somebody.
The fuck.
Our current poll on Patreon had like Point Break is one of the options. And someone said like, we need a Keanu versus Travis thing. and someone in Discord was like, oh no, Kung Fu. And then Travis was like, oh no, babes.
That's funny.
I said someone. It was me. I said I don't know why I said someone.
This scene here has one of the hokiest bits of dialogue when they're like, okay, we're going to draw for it. And whoever draws the King of Hearts. And then Van's like, that's the Suicide King. I was like, oh,
is that a thing? Like,
yeah, the King of Hearts like is holding his knife in a way to where it looks like it's going into the side of his head.
Oh,
I never knew that.
Yeah.
nor did I.
Like she said that, and I didn't think it was just some like edgy teenager shit. I was like, that has to be a thing, but I'm just not familiar with cards enough to know that.
I just thought she was trying to be clever. Because the queen is the queen of hearts. Like, that's who's going to be the leader. And then the king, dead. Suicide.
But yeah, they're going to figure out who's going to do it. We go back to the present. Shauna is spying on Misty. She watches Misty get in her car, and she's going to do a little bit of a tailing, a car tailing. But plot twist, Shauna is being tailed by a silver Mustang.
That's fun.
The driver has some dope driving gloves and a cat hula dancer thing on the dash. So it's clearly Hilary Swank at this point. But at one point, like the car, the silver Mustang is a little too aggressive with their tailing. And Shauna's like, what the fuck? This is weird. So she abandons her quest to follow Misty and pulls down an alley. And the Mustang follows her and actually like hits her. And surprise, it's Walter.
Wearing the biggest reflector aviator glasses I've ever seen.
Love that. He looked great.
Also, I liked the camera work, because I'm always like, because you can't see the camera in the glasses. I'm like, good job. Good job, guys.
That's always hard to do.
Yeah.
I wonder if they like digitally paint them out. Maybe.
Probably.
But yeah, I love Walter's line where like, tailing is a lesser used skill of mine. Because she's like, what the fuck, man? That was terrible.
Yeah.
But he says he's appointed himself chief citizen detective for Lottie's murder. And Shauna's like, why were you following me? And she's saying that she's following Misty because she has killed people, and she doesn't trust Walter because he's killed someone. And he's like, well, may I remind you? Nuh-uh. No, you.
Logic follows. A murderer would murder again.
And she's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But there's a nice little tit for tat with these two in this dialogue. And then Walter's like, you're very intuitive. You're asking the right questions. Let's create an interesting symbiotic relationship between us. And at this point in the episode, I was like, this is when I like kind of leaned forward, like, okay. I never would have thought these two would do some detective work together, but I'm into it.
Yeah.
I love it. Because they're so opposite.
Yeah.
They're like Misty and Walter are like they're meant for each other.
They complement each other.
They complement each other. They're like on the same team. Shauna and Walter are from completely different worlds. So this relationship could either go really badly or it could be like really entertaining. And I think it's the latter.
Absolutely.
But we go back to the kids. They're all drawing cards. Everyone ends up showing up what card they had. And Tai has picked the Suicide King. What are we, some kind of Suicide King? We cut back to the present day where Van and Tai are talking at a restaurant. Van's still kind of processing Lottie's death. It's so crazy that she died after everything that they went through. What sense does that make? At that point, Van's kind of like, but that reminds me, you were gone for like an hour in the city.
Right after we were about to murder that other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you
flashed us and we bailed?
And Vanna's like, I think I'm feeling a lot better.
Lottie did call you right before we went on our weird murder experiment.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
But Ty's like, no, we're in New York City, baby. It takes a long time to get a pretzel cart, to schedule a carriage ride through Central Park.
I had to get some cash because I knew you wouldn't have any.
And there's not an ATM anywhere in this GD city. Oh man.
Yeah. I definitely think it's a little weird. I'm not believing much of what Ty is saying here.
She is definitely suspect number one.
Yeah.
Her Sleepy Time Ty.
I think it's Sleepy Time Ty.
Maybe real Ty was like, oh shoot, it's already 5 because she like slept walk for 45 minutes. And then was like, oh my gosh, I gotta get that cart.
Yeah.
Good thing he's right there. But at that moment, when Ty's like, what are you talking about? Why am I a suspect? Simone calls her. Well, we don't know it's Simone at this moment, but she takes a call and it seems to be very serious and she leaves and the scene ends. But Missy heads to the hotel where Lottie was staying at. And I love how she just walks right to the authorized personnel only door.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
If you walk into a place with purpose, you can get anywhere.
Oh, if you're confident.
Or carrying a ladder.
Or if you have one of
ladder,
those reflected vests on. Oh, you can get in anywhere.
Anywhere. Yeah. Or a clipboard. Just have a clipboard.
Oh, yeah.
You're good. You're set. But she goes to the crime scene and she's sort of evaluating Lottie's crime scene. There's like nail scratches on the wall. And all kinds of stuff. She ends up talking to the guy at the front desk. Is she the one that said, I have this note down. Is she the one that like talks to the guy? She's like, gone but not forgotten.
No, I think that was the
Is
guy.
it the guy?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out this guy, he's worked there for a while, and this is where Lottie's family lived for a time, but her dad still lives there.
Yeah.
We find out her parents were divorced at one point, and Lottie left and lived with her mom when they got divorced. But Mr. Matthews has lived here the whole time, and this guy has known Lottie in pretty much her whole life. And whenever she would be upset, they would give her lollipops. They called them lollipops.
That's cute.
That is cute.
It is cute. Always treat your doorman with respect because they're real. They're real ones. But he also drops the bomb that Lottie has been living with her dad for weeks.
Which made me say, are they alluding to the fact that she didn't go to the like mental place?
Or if she did, she wasn't there for long.
Yeah.
So I know like most places, psychiatric holds, which I think is what they put her under at the end of season 3, psychiatric holds have a pretty short time limit on them. Like if they don't, if you're fine after that amount of time, they usually will let you go. So I forget how much time is supposed to pass between the present timeline between seasons. But like, I guess it would make sense if they only had her for like a day or two, and then she like went to live with her dad and started coming up with this plan of hers that we're not quite privy to yet.
Yeah.
I always assumed that she escaped.
Oh,
She busted out?
left?
Yeah.
Did a jailbreak?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that would track for her character for sure.
I would assume that she like bought her way out, like paid off the guy that was like paid off the workers at the mental place and was like, hey, I'll literally give you $1,000 if you let me leave.
She's such an interesting character. I wish we had more of her.
Yeah.
Like a rich person who's like stealing shit from the department store.
Like, okay,
who
Winona-
runs a cult.
Cult leader, yeah.
It's like, okay, Winona Ryder.
It's like Winona Ryder
Sorry.
and
We love Winona.
what's her name? Who makes Goop?
Gwyneth Paltrow?
Yeah, it's like Gwyneth Paltrow and Winona Ryder like smash together and form Lottie.
Okay, yeah.
They run at each other from opposite sides of the room and collide, and you got Lottie. We cut to Ty and Van in the past. They're practicing shooting. So Ty isn't the hunter of the group. That's Natalie or Jen. So they want to do a firing squad for Coach Ben's execution. And Ty wants to make sure she does it right. So they have drawn a smiley face on the tree, and she's trying to shoot that. But she's having a hard time doing it because every time she aims at that smiley face, she's like, why did you make it look so much like him?
Did Travis draw this?
I really captured his smile. I wanted you to be prepared, Ty, to take a man's life.
Get mentally in the zone.
Van is like, hey, you're acting you're feeling guilt about this. Do you think he's guilty? Do you think he's innocent? And she's like, yeah, it's one thing to say someone should die and a completely different thing to actually be the one to do it.
Yeah.
Which I think that's a fair thing to say.
Totally.
And then Van has this wild idea. This is one of those things where I'm like, oh, this is how you bring this back? That's very wild.
Like, Van, okay.
Van's like, hey, remember how you have this like alternate personality that eats dirt and animals in the middle of the night and is definitely a danger to everyone around here. What if we woke her up so she could have a gun in her hand?
Why don't we bring that back? It's so fucking weird. It's such a bad idea.
I'm like, okay, horny Van. It's
Well,
fine.
do you think the talk of sleepy time Ty is what did it for Van, or the talk of family matters is what did it? Because then they started talking about family matters at some point in this conversation.
It's like Suave Stefan.
I love how Ty's like, am I Urkel? Are you calling me Steve Urkel? You would be so lucky, Ty. Urkel pools. But yeah, they're like, it can't hurt by trying to summon Sleepy Time Ty, which famous last words, I bet. I mean, we know Van doesn't die in this timeline, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We go back to Shauna in the past. She's sharpening a knife and Melissa shows up. I thought Melissa made her flowers at first, but she made her a nice little knife holder.
Yeah. I thought it was a necklace at first.
Yeah. Which, a very good skill, honestly. Like making a leather sheath for a blade.
That looked amazing.
Yeah, it looked really good.
Like embroidered a little S on it.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's cute.
Good thing the embroiderer survived the plane crash.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Set up shop just outside of the camp.
I mean, these ladies, say what you will about their eating habits, but they are quite industrious.
I will say that is a very gay thing to do. Like
Make it a knife sheath.
Yeah, for your partner.
This is the best lesbian gift ever.
Yeah.
I honestly, when I thought there were flowers, I was like, "Ooh, Melissa, that was a what are you giving her?" And then it was a knife sheath. I'm like, "Ooh, actually, Melissa, okay, you got it, you got her." But Melissa actually says something like really, really great, I think, which kind of made me like her character a lot better. She was like, "Hey," because Shauna's like, "Why do you even like me? Because I'm awful. I'm trying to burn a guy at the stake. Why do you like me?" And she's like, "Hey, Jackie treated you like shit. Jeff treated you like you were a dirty secret. I like that you're not afraid of the bad parts of yourself anymore." And and like, it's unfortunate that the bad parts of Shauna is murder, but I do like that Melissa was like, "Hey, your friend and your friend's boyfriend, like that was fucked up what they did to you, honestly."
Yeah.
And I kind of like that she did that.
Yeah. I still don't know how I feel about the two of them together. It's very interesting.
I'm still getting used to Melissa being a character.
That's true.
Yeah.
After last season, just being in the background, hanging with, I think it was like always her and Jen were in the same scene together.
Yeah. Her, Jen, and then Crystal, I think, were a trio.
I'm still not even convinced that she existed before this season, but
she did though.
She did.
She did.
Okay.
Yeah, she did that. All of them did. Well, at least Jen, Melissa, Akilah, Crystal, all of them definitely did last season.
Gotcha.
Misty is bringing Ben a nice fish dinner with some greens.
Honestly, this is his final meal.
It's his final meal. Yeah, he's like, "Ooh, this looks amazing, Misty. What did I do to deserve this?" "You're gonna die.
They're gonna kill you at dusk.
They're coming at dusk. It's gonna be a firing squad. And by squad, I mean just Ty. We can't squat up." And this is kind of really hard to watch because Misty like breaks down and starts crying, and she hugs him, and she has this really funny, fucked up thing to say, but it's kind of funny where she says like, "You're a decent person, Ben. You're my first boyfriend and my first amputation. I'm really gonna miss you."
And Ben's like, "Okay."
Oh man!
Because when you hear like you're going to be executed by firing squad, I'm sure Misty Quigley is the last person you want to have deliver that news to you.
Yeah, for sure.
I teared up a little bit at the goodbye Ben, bye Misty at the end of that scene.
Yeah,
it's just fucking powerful.
Yeah. I mean, those two have a very fucked up relationship, mostly on Misty's end, but it is still like.
I think both of them have really good chemistry with each other too. Like Samantha Hanratty and Steven Kruger have really good chemistry.
I agree. All of their scenes together, the last two episodes, have been really, really good.
Yeah.
They're just great. Lottie wants to go to the caves with Akilah. She tells her it has more to say with you. "Don't worry, Travis is coming too." "Don't worry, babes.
I'm here.
I'll protect you.
We're going to the babe cave."
Which, we'll get to it. But adult Misty, we cut to her. She's trying to visit Mr. Matthews. She goes up there, and he seems to be like, immediately you're wondering if this guy's okay, because he's like, he doesn't seem too upset about Lottie's death. So you're like, oh, is he just a bad dad? What's going on here? Which tracks with what we know about him.
Yeah.
But also he's like, I got a meeting, and like it seems like the woman in his employ, I don't know if that's like his maid or assistant caretaker.
I got it was like, his like at home health aide or something like that.
Yeah, probably. She seems to be like, yeah, sure, go to your meeting, man. That's okay. But Misty says she's Mary from the 5th floor, and she brought some chocolate rugalash. Is that, we gotta look that up. Maybe we'll get that
right now.
For the finale. We'll get some chocolate rugalash and enjoy. But she's saying that Lottie had told her that she had a package and it was delivered to their address by accident. And she was just going to come. She asked if she can come and look for it. And he's like, sure, but I got a meeting. Be quick about it. And my notes like, they just let her roam free.
Yeah, she put her coat up. Like, okay.
I love.
I did like that.
The concept of the detective foreplay going on in this room, but it's really ham-fisted how they get there.
Yeah.
Can I just let myself in? And I guess.
Sure.
Like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that health caretaker any healthcare caretaker worth their salt would be like, no.
I'm calling
Get
the police.
out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we get the first sort of mention of something's a little off with him because at one point he like has an outburst where he's like, I know who my daughter is. Like he looks a little defensive about his memory. He says that I think at one point Misty's like, oh, your Lottie's dead. Could it have been one of her cult nutsos or something like that? Maybe they pushed her, and he's like, no, it was an accident. Artie at the station won't see a dime if he says otherwise.
Yeah, what the fuck is going on there?
Huh?
Yeah.
What? Is this how we get that police officer from season 2 that everyone hated? The guy that was catfishing Callie?
Oh.
Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, he hasn't been in this season yet.
Did he die?
No, I think Walter blackmailed him and said that if he did anything, he would blame Kevin's death on him.
Gotcha.
But we haven't seen that guy yet. I wonder if he's going to pop back up. But Walter is already there. He's admiring the paintings. And surprise, Shauna's there too. And they're dressed up in the dumbest little Geek Squad outfits.
You chose Shauna as your rebound?
Shauna's like, you're the one with all the porn viruses. Wait, do we say that Misty found the withdrawal slip in Lottie's jacket?
No.
Oh no, I didn't say that. But yeah, she withdrew $50,000.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, I liked how she went about that, like putting her coat up and then like Sly being in front of the coat rack, reaching in through the pockets and stuff.
Those citizen detectives, they got sticky fingers.
Yep.
They got some sticky ass fingers. Mr. Matthews keeps saying something about the Bear Stearns meeting is an hour. Is Jimmy canceling the meeting? What's this guy talking about? But Shauna at one point says, like, back up, Misty. There's a new citizen detective in town. And she's trying to act all like, I'm in on it too.
Yeah.
This is really funny. It's all really fun stuff.
Yeah.
Walter still calls Misty Agent Gray. And he seems to be like, you know, he talks about it later in the episode, but he says like the one thing to get to Misty is to give her a challenge. And so he thinks by challenging her in this way, that's how he's going to win her back. But he's like offering like, we could team back up together. Well, may the best citizen detective win because she refuses. And that's how that scene ends. Van and Tai are back in the past. They're talking about ways to bring out Sleepy Time Tai. Maybe we should listen to the trees at one point. And then Van is like, hey, you know what really brought her out?
Bow chicka wow wow.
It's when we clean our fingernails. And we go to town.
Oh.
Do you remember that? Clean your fingernails.
Treat me like a lady.
Yeah. But Ty's like, is this an excuse to get in my pants? But they make out and they get horny.
Yeah.
What'd you think about this?
Is this
Me? Steve's like, I want to keep talking about this.
Go on.
I mean, it was lesbians having sex.
Van was just taking charge, man.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what I was surprised by. I was like, oh, damn, Van is driving the van.
Nice. I mean, I would pin Van as a top for sure.
Yeah.
In this scenario. Oh yeah, for sure. So that, yeah, it makes total sense.
I guess.
But the flipping around Tai, like pushing against the tree, I was like, oh, damn.
Oh.
They're going into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess we'll know that it's Sleepy Time Tai when she's the top.
Yes.
You know, Sleepy Time Tai at the top.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that's how we'll know who's who. But Lottie, Travis, and Akilah. Oh, at this point, I think the wind's doing weird stuff too.
Yes.
Like they start making out on the tree, and the wind's like, "I'm here.
I'm gonna watch."
Something mystical's happening. Oh, with them lesbians. Oh, here we go.
Damn.
They were saying, "Don't fuck on me, the tree."
And the Travis is somewhere going like, "The trees are screaming."
No, that's just Tai. That's just Tai orgasming.
Whoa. But Travis, Lottie, and Akilah make it to the cave.
The babe cave.
Babe cave. Lottie's going on about the Oracle of Delphi, saying that the gas opened Akilah up to the truth. Travis was opened up to the truth with mushrooms. And Akilah's like psyching herself up. She's not too sure about this. They have this plan where they're going to tie rope to her and she's just going to wander into the cave, pass out,
And then they're going to go in and get her.
And then they're going to go get her. And I don't know. It's a terrible idea.
Yeah, terrible idea.
Because I thought they would like drag her back, maybe. I'm like, that's kind of a dumb idea, but that at least you're not in the gas. But they actually like run in there and pick her up, and it's like, oh,
well, I
you
thought
guys
the
are getting
idea
gas
was
too.
like when the rope stops, it like they know that she's passed out.
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm like, they were shocked when the rope stopped, and then they were like, Akilah, are you okay?
Yeah.
Like very clearly, she's passed out. The plan that you were, it was weird.
It was a terrible plan.
Yes. Well, even Travis is like, this is a terrible idea.
Well, when Lottie...
And I'm the one saying
And
it.
I'm the one.
I have no fucking clue what's going on with Travis right now. Like this whole season. I guess he's drunk or something, but he's
high on shrooms.
He's lying. Is he still?
I don't know.
He's lying about having seen Akilah in his visions. I guess at some point he drew the thing and he was like, "It's the result" or whatever. I'm so confused with his character.
His purpose is just kind of, we don't really know yet because we know his fate. I mean, he does survive this. He ends up dying as an adult, but like I feel like his like dynamic was like with Natalie.
Yeah,
like,
that was his story.
Yeah, and then that has like completely gone away. So we're kind of like, what can we do with this guy?
Because that's the other thing is they killed off not Sophie Thatcher, Juliette Lewis in the present day, and ever since then, this whole season, they seemingly don't know what to do with young Nat, which is such a shame because that's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, and Sophie Thatcher is fucking awesome.
Yeah, she's so incredible, and like it's weird that they haven't really. I don't even think if young Nat and Travis have even spoken to each other this season. It's really odd.
Yeah. But the Travis and Lottie like connection, I mean, it doesn't not make sense, but it is a little like, okay, we're leaning into, I feel like they're leaning into it a little too hard. But anyway, it's just, I agree.
There's
it's
enough
kind of
Travis
strange.
to go around for more bets. Okay.
Yeah, it is just a little strange, the trajectory of his character and what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And I guess we really don't know if he was lying to Lottie about Akilah's like intuition with the wilderness.
You're right. Now it seems like maybe he wasn't.
He
He just felt bad because like he knows that the wilderness picked a friend of his, and he probably knows that it doesn't maybe end well for her.
Or is it like he just blindly chose and like he ended up being right? Or you know what I mean? I have no idea.
So when he says he wants to call this plan off, and Lottie's like, "No, you saw him saw her in your vision, right?" He's like, totally." Like, so I feel like he's lying, but maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe he's lying, but Mortimer's not. And
It should have been Mortimer going in and saving Akilah.
The little like, waddles in there.
You just hear,
Yeah, the little web feet slapping on.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that'd be so. You hear the slapping get further and further away, and then it rushes back with Akilah on its back.
On its back, yeah.
Thanks, Mortimer. Oh my god.
Shit.
Let's see. Misty in the present is looking around. She's looking for Lottie's bedroom. But Walter's trying to clear the area. They're saying every non Geek Squad member needs to clear the area because we got to look for cables and run it from the all this stuff. But Misty is like, hey, when you guys did that to my apartment, you had to run all the cables to the outside because the walls in here are solid concrete. And then we get that really funny Shauna knocking on what is obviously solid concrete. She's like, I don't know, sounds hollow to me. But Mr. Matthews is like, you heard her, go to it. And there was this weird little connection between the two of them. Like, they're like, yeah, Nux.
Yeah.
We told those service workers what for. Ty and Van meet up with Simone and Sammy in the park.
We're still here. Like,
We still exist.
I'm glad that Simone's feeling better. Like, she got out of the hospital and looks good.
Yeah.
This is one of those like step forward, step back scenes for me, because on one hand, I'm like, oh, good, they're back. And I think the idea of Van being there and the awkward, like, hey, and she's like, so you're her, huh? Because I'm sure Simone's heard all about Van.
Yeah.
And I like that juiciness. Like, oh, Sammy's been crying for you this whole time. And then it's like, mom's here. We gotta go.
Yeah. It was really strange.
And they go back to it, and you see him like, are you my mom still? And she's like, of course, I'm always going to be your mom. And then he freaks out and wants to leave. Obviously, there's something there. Like maybe he sees that Sleepy Time Tea's there. Mm-hmm. Sleepy Time Tea, Sleepy Time Tai. Sorry.
Sleepy Time Tea. That's what I drink to go to bed.
I don't want to go to bed yet, Mom. Other mom.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a weird, like, we were just getting into the scene. Now we're immediately be thrown out of it again.
Well, especially when Simone was like, he's been asking for you. And then, she gets there and then, he's like, actually, no. Like, which is like normal for kids. I don't know. Kids of divorce. Oh, so crazy emotions. But
for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a little strange to like you almost didn't need to have that scene. It didn't add anything to the episode, in my opinion.
I wonder if it'll be one of those things where like next episode it'll like, oh, okay, I see why they did that.
Yeah.
But it was just a weird little. It was one of those oddly paced scenes that were kind of like at the back half of this episode. I think.
Yeah.
But it was good to see Simone and Sammy again,
yeah.
And Steve the dog. I'm glad Steve the dog is still alive as well.
Steve is still alive.
We like Steve.
Sometimes.
He's a good boy.
I like my belly rubbed.
Goodest boy.
I say it's a quick meeting. The wind also gets spooky at this point. Like, oh, that meeting went real shit for you. We go back to Walter, who is trying to hack into the mainframe. He's like really impressed that they have a Theodosian named, like a firewall named Theodosia. And he tries to explain the history of that name to Shauna. She's like, I don't give a shit.
I'm penetrating the system.
Don't say penetrate.
When the nurse lady walks by, there's like a lingerer there.
I couldn't tell
at the trash bag that she's holding.
I couldn't tell if she was like trying to assist, like she knew what they were doing. I'm sure she didn't give a shit, but I was like, oh, is she like alluding to, hey, there's something in the trash that you should look through? But then that didn't end up getting it. Like,
I don't know if she was alluding like, hey guys, look at this trash, but it might have been like, oh, I gotta dispose of this trash because there's something up with these guys. I don't want them to see what's in it. Or maybe she like threw something away. She was getting rid of evidence.
Or it was like she's just noticing that they're lingering.
Yeah.
Here, I don't know. It was very strange, prolonged eye contact.
She put the smelly bags of trash in the room. Like, when are you guys leaving, huh? Just trying to smell them out.
Yeah.
Or stink them out.
She's like, what are you guys doing? Like holding the trash above them.
It's 2 solid trash bags full of 3-day-old fish.
Dirty diapers.
It's real stanky. It's that guy's diapers.
Yeah.
Depends.
But yeah, Lottie kind of, or not Lottie, Shauna is sort of asking, like, if Lottie could go here, why did she come to my place and not stay here? Walter's like, hey, maybe she needed a friend. Either you're a friend or you're not, because even though they got this team up going, Walter still has a little bit of a beef with Shauna.
Oh, yeah.
Because he doesn't think Shauna's actually being a good friend to Misty, and she's not. Let's be honest.
She, I don't know. When he's like, maybe she needed a friend, it's like, that's such a foreign fucking concept to her because she's just a psychopath. You know what I mean?
She doesn't have any friends.
Like with Misty, I put you squarely in the not friend camp because you're a terrible person. Mm-hmm. But I know it makes her toes curl.
Ugh.
I hated that line.
I don't like that.
I don't like that.
Something about that was worse than him saying I'm penetrating the system.
Agreed.
And then there's this funny exchange where Walter's like, here, I didn't kill anybody. Here's a strand of my hair. You can use it to do some DNA matching to ensure that I didn't kill Lottie. Let me have a little bit of yours and I can do the same. And Shauna's like, I'm not fucking giving you my hair, psycho.
Yeah.
When he does the lunge, that's so weird.
Yeah. And Shauna's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But he ends up pulling it from her hat that she took off. Yeah. So
I love that he says it. He says it like it's such a normal thing. Like, yeah, here, go run this through your DNA analyzer. I have one at my house, don't you?
Don't you? We all have them. Mutually assured destruction can be devastatingly effective. But he gave her that hat because Walter's smart. That was his backup. That was his backup. But he's definitely planning something. Could he follow me on this? If Walter was the one that murdered Lottie, could he be taking her hair to implant it on the scene
maybe.
and frame her? Because we know Walter's really good at framing people.
Maybe.
I would keep my eye on that guy. Tai and Van finished their little session.
Literally.
Little sesh.
Finished.
Little sesh. They're finished. And they
They're finished.
they finished several times. They hear some animal in the distance making like injured noises, and it's a little rabbit that they caught in a trap.
No.
And Tai picks it up, and Van's kind of coaching her, like, "Hey, okay, you got to kill that rabbit. Do it like Lottie told us. Be present with it. Read it poetry. Turn on some Sting. Light a candle." Right before you do it, say "fuck you," and then
Dude, this scene's fucking hard to watch, man.
Yeah.
She's just like, I can feel it. It's fear. It's fucking shaking. And its heart is
smell its
slowing
blood.
down.
I struggle to watch like animals being
Yeah.
killed on screen.
and they show it too, like when she does the,
Unless
and
it's a cat,
like,
then
it's
it's
like
fine.
wiggling around. Oh, I felt so bad for that poor little bunny.
I can't watch it.
Yeah, and then the spooky wind happens again, like, "Oh no, you killed Teddy."
And then I like how so Tai like slices the rabbit's throat, and then Van's like prolong like looking at Tai, and Tai's like, "It's still me.
Yeah.
It's still me. I'm not the other Tai."
Oh, we did forget that she pretended to be the other Tai after they finished.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And was like, "Gotcha, nerd.
Where's
Yeah.
the gun?
Give me the gun. I'll do it." Let's see. Lottie and Travis, this is their tying a rope to Akilah scene. They'll stop her if it happens. Akilah ends up falling down, and they go get her. We don't see her vision immediately because we see them save her first. And but maybe
Did something fall in the water while they were getting her out? Because I feel like they cut to a splash, but like the screen that I was watching on, it was like a dark scene in a brightly lit room, so I couldn't really tell what happened. Might have just been a footstep. I don't
didn't
know,
make
but
a
I
note
thought
of
I
it.
saw a splash.
It was Mortimer.
Mortimer.
He was
he went into the water and lifted her up from the bottom to help them out. I got this.
taking a bath.
Aw.
Oh, Akilah, you're here? Cool.
Oh, sweet. My buddy. Misty is going through Lottie's things in her room, and she finds does she find her phone, right? She finds Lottie's phone. She's like, "Oh, jackpot." But Walter had already hacked into it, cloned the phone, and then restarted it. So all the information that Misty was looking for is not there.
Checkmate.
Checkmate. But you are all obviously welcome to join our team and be privy to everything we find. And she's like, "I can't believe I let you give Caligula a bath."
That fucking hurt him too, man. He's like, God damn. I love it. He's just like, we're having fun, right? She's like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, he totally
It's like
misread it.
Misty can't take a sip of her own medicine. You know what I mean? Because I feel like previously she would like, nod her head, be like, "Okay, you're
Game recognizes game."
Yeah, but now she's like, "No, like this is serious. Like one of my friends died or like was murdered or something." You know what I mean?
She's still recovering from Nat's death,
Yeah.
who was like her quote unquote best friend to her. Lottie's dead, and all of her other friends are like ignoring her. So she's like going through this really weird, like, what is my life? What are my relationships? I have to rethink that. And I think he's a part of that as well. And he just completely misread the situation because he just did a sad Caligula. Very sad Caligula. Andy wasn't here for the coverage of that joke.
I don't know what's happening.
Whenever her parrot Caligula would show up, we would go, Caligula! But we haven't done it in a while. But I did take note that in Lottie's room, it's all framed photos of the Yellowjackets, which was kind of sweet. But
Yes.
Shauna eventually comes in and interrupts both of them. Misty tells Shauna, "You two deserve each other," and storms off. Walter goes after Misty, I think, right? That's where he
I
goes.
think so.
And at this point, this is when Shauna starts looking around the room, seeing the photos, and just sort of being like, "Oh, my friend is dead. This is weird." And it's at this point where Mr. Matthews walks in, and he thinks Shauna is a young Lottie. And,
It's very sad.
it's very
It's
sad because it's
super sad.
obvious. I mean, if it wasn't obvious before, now it's clear that Mr. Matthews is suffering through some sort of Alzheimer's or dementia.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, I thought I told you to clean your room." And Shauna plays into it, which I think is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to sort of play into the
the narrative
a little bit, because if you are constantly taking them out of it, they can become destructive and confused. And so you have to kind of play into it a little bit.
Yeah.
And this was one of the most interesting scenes, I think, of the season, because I was surprised that Shauna did that. And it became this sort of weird, sweet sort of closing the book scene for Lottie that also did some character development for Shauna.
Yeah.
And it made you feel a little bit of like sympathy for this character, Mr. Matthews, that we know was like not a great dad to Lottie.
Yeah.
Who seemingly has some regrets, I guess. But yeah, he says like, hey, let's go get some Chinese food from that place you like and watch the new Scorsese. I want to know which one he was talking about.
Yeah. Save it for the Honeycombs.
Yeah.
I don't know which one. I want to know.
Okay.
But do you guys have anything else you want to say about this scene?
No, I just thought it was sweet. And the hug at
sweet.
the end was a nice little chef's kiss at the end of the moment.
Yeah. I think the most important line in the scene is she says, sometimes it's hard to show love the way you mean to, which I think is something that character specifically relates to.
Yeah.
We cut to Tai looking at some clothes. She's upset about the meeting with Simone and Sammy. We get to see what happened in that meeting where Sammy's like, are you not my mommy anymore? And he gets creeped out and runs.
They just wanted to remind you a second time, nothing happened in this scene. Why did we get this twice?
Yeah, like I feel like it would have been a better payoff if Tai had turned into her other self.
Yeah,
and was
something.
like approaching Sammy, and that's why he like walked away.
Sammy's like, are you my mom? He's like, no, you little shit.
No, fucker.
I'm going to kill your little dog. I'm going to cut its head off. Bathe in its blood.
Fucking Freddy Krueger.
You're my nightmare now, Sammy.
Poor Sammy.
I love how, like, I think when they wrote this scene, they probably like, oh, it'll be a mystery. We won't show them what happened in the first scene, and they'll reveal what happened. But the reveal is kind of like, okay.
Nothing happened.
All right. But Van's like, hey, would you want to change the scenery? Let's leave this house. And they go. Young Lottie and Travis are praying for Akilah to bring her back, but Akilah wakes up and she tells them about the vision that they had. She was on a cliff, but it wasn't a cliff. It was Coach Scott.
She was literally standing on his ass.
So there's like
so fucking weird.
There's like a big ravine that she can't get across, but then all of a sudden a giant Coach Scott appears like face down, and she just walks over him like he's a big dumb bridge.
Yeah.
And
it's a little on the nose in my opinion, but whatever.
But on the other side of the ravine, Madison, in the darkness that she couldn't see through, she didn't feel scared. She felt hope. Coach Ben is the bridge to hope.
Mm-hmm. And I liked how she could hear like car honking, and you can see
civilization.
Like, a little blur of like a skyline of sorts. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it's a nice little touch. Speaking of Big Dumb Bridge, Ben is cuddling with the goat, and that's when the girls arrive and they bag him. They throw a sack over his head, and he never ate his delicious meal.
I know. You
What's that
fish
about?
on the bone. I mean, to be fair, if somebody brought me a steak dinner and then they were like, also, I'm going to kill you when you're done with this.
I feel like my appetite would be gone. Yeah.
There's so much steak.
It's also
a long time.
It is a nice looking fish, but I would be pissed if that was my final meal on death row.
Yeah.
I would want I want a McRib. Like
McRib?
Yeah, make McDonald's bring it back.
I want it out of season.
Yeah, exactly. I need a McRib. I need some Arby's curlies.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
What is
sticking with the fast food?
Okay, so is there anything else you would have on your death row execution meal?
I'm actually so glad you guys brought this up.
This is honestly, I'm very fascinated.
No, I
want
love
a
these
Crunch Wrap
conversations.
Supreme.
Okay.
Cheesy Gordita Crunch.
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much all fast food.
Andy's going for the fast food greatest hits.
Yeah.
You just have one like prison guard driving to all of the different like local fast food places around the county jail.
It's all cold by the time it gets to you.
Yeah.
Steve, what would your meal be?
Oh gosh, I would probably get like lobster, mashed potatoes, some yellowtail sashimi, a steak. I would go like all out. I'll be like, you guys are spending $1,000 on this.
Oh, for sure. I think I'd get like, just a bunch of meals and then take like a little bite of everything. Mm-hmm. I would request a like turkey club sandwich. That would be pretty good. I was going to say turkey club sandwich next to a body of water, but if I'm in jail, I don't think that can happen.
Wait, what?
You want some scenery?
Yeah. No. Hold on. Are you guys not familiar with like having like a cold cut sandwich next to a body of water?
No. What?
Have you ever experienced that?
I mean,
I can't
sure,
say
if I
I
was
have.
fishing or
Oh
something.
my gosh. That is like,
Is that part of it adds to the experience?
like I need a cold cut
The
sandwich.
flavor.
Yeah, next to a body of water.
Does
Wow.
the body of water matter? Like an ocean?
It could be a river, it could be a lake, it could be an ocean, doesn't matter.
I feel
But
like
it's like the idea of like you're going on a picnic. Most picnic foods is like a cold cut sandwich.
I feel like a cold cut pairs well with a body of salt water.
Yeah. I eat
Yeah.
Subway in my bathtub. Does that count?
Yeah, it does. I think so. Yeah,
I got my body of water.
My
the
cold cut
breadcrumbs are
combo.
getting in the water. Get exfoliant for your body.
He like dips it and eats it still.
You know what I would have to have though in my final meal is some Fireball cinnamon whiskey.
I knew you were going to say that.
Is it time?
I think it's time.
Are we on death row right now? Or at least Andy's.
Yeah, here we go.
Cheers.
friends.
Cheers. Bottoms up.
Ooh.
Blah.
Oh, I have regrets.
Oh my God. You know who
All right,
else
time
has
to go to the
regrets?
firing squad, Andy. turn your back.
Burns.
The first time I ever had Fireball cinnamon whiskey, my friends put a sack over my head and let me into a campfire. And no, that's not true.
Burned your
But it
back.
is execution time, and that's what the girls did to Ben. They tie him up to a tree, and Nat is like, she's got some tears going, but she gives Ben the necklace, which is kind of fucked up. He's pleading with them the whole time, like, you don't have to do this. This isn't who any of you are. This isn't what you are. This place did this to you. And then, like, at one point, what do they do? I think either they go to, like, mask him or something, and he's like, no. If you're going to do this, you're going to look me in the eye as you do it.
Yeah.
And then Jen's over there like, nuh-uh.
No,
You don't
fuck you.
deserve that.
You don't deserve that, fucker. And it's like, you don't deserve life, Jen with a G. Sorry to anyone listening.
Based off that fact. Who spells their name like that?
It's just a fact. What is your name? Jennifer?
Jennifer. Genevieve.
Yeah, he's like, what kind of monsters have you all become? Fuck you all, because they put the sack over his head. Tai aims the gun. She's looking down the sights.
Oh, dude, him begging once they put the hood on.
Oh, yeah.
is
So hard.
I'm sitting on the edge of my seat like, oh my God, it's fucking happening.
It doesn't look like Tai can do it because she's kind of struggling, but then there's a brief moment where she looks down and then like, just looks real like bad. Just looks right down the barrel of that gun, and Van's like, sleepy time, Tai? And she goes, it'll be all right. Mama gonna take care of this.
I got it.
And right when she fires the gun, Lottie and Travis jump in and save the day. They like push him out of the way, right? Like Travis tackles Ben, and there's that cut where the bullet hole goes right between the eyes of the smiley face. And they're just like, he's the bridge.
He's the bridge. Remember, I had a dream and I was standing on him.
He's our bridge home. And then she starts telling them about the dream, and I was like, oh, I hate hearing about other people's dreams.
Tired of it.
God. I really hope this better culminate with them literally tying him across a ravine and just walking over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ben is saved for now. We cut immediately to later in the night. He's tied back up.
I hated this.
You hate it?
Oh.
Why do you hate it?
Because I was like, at first I thought, oh, Shauna's like going against what they all agreed on, and they were like going to kill him. Like they were going to either like slit his throat or like stab him or whatever. And I didn't really like how she was like forcing that responsibility onto Melissa.
Yeah.
It was just very unnerving, which I'm sure that's the purpose of the scene, but it was just very difficult to watch.
You shouldn't be scared of the bad parts of you either.
Yeah, I think that they're supposed to make you think that they're about to kill them. And now, if they had like done this in the same scene after they saved him, like then like Shauna goes up and cuts his Achilles or something.
In the same scene?
Yeah, and I feel like it would have been effective, but we needed a buffer between these two things.
Yeah, there was just a weird, it just felt like a big restart.
Yeah.
To get to the same emotion we were at before. We're building. Oh, okay, we're not going to kill him. Oh, we just did something just as bad.
Yeah.
It was just kind of a weird thing to include Yeah, she
Well, like,
forces
he's
Melissa.
already handicapped too. Like, he can't really travel that far, and he's been trapped inside this thing for
Yeah, they tied
probably
him up.
a couple of
days.
days. Yeah, so I'm like, what more do you need to do to like ensure that he stays there?
Now you're really not going anywhere
Yeah,
fast.
Oh, it's
seriously.
so fucked up too. He's got one leg and now he can't use that one.
Yeah, and
Probably ever.
And then as I've gotten older, like body horror just really like freaks me out. Not that this was like super like gory or anything, but like the slicing of the
it's
so gross.
Well, that's one of those things where your toes curl when that happens.
The curling of the toes have occurred.
Yeah, so Shauna makes Melissa do the deed. If you want to be my lover, you got to get with my crimes. And he screams at the night, and Shauna and Melissa go back to the girl because I thought they were doing this like they were going rogue.
Yeah.
Like this,
Agreed.
like, fuck you, Ben. We want to burn you at the stake, but we can't because we don't know how to start a fire.
Yeah. But then I was like, but then he starts screaming, and I was like, okay, well, they're clearly going to get found
Yeah, why aren't they going to help him?
Yeah.
But they're all the girls are like 10 feet away. Like, did you do it? Did you cut him?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and she's like, he ain't going anywhere.
You don't have to enjoy it this much.
And you don't have to act like such a fucking saint. And then Melissa and Shauna go hold hands, and they go into their tent. I assume to finish.
What the fuck?
Or just hang, you know?
Yeah, or just
hang.
Lies a feather stiff as a board.
Right. I did like how it was like Melissa's hand was really bloody, and Shauna, like that was the time when Shauna grabbed Melissa's hand. And then everyone was like,
whoa, what?
Hard launch?
Who's
What
Melissa?
the fuck? Who's this bitch?
Has she been here the whole time?
Whole time?
Shut up, Jen. And that concludes the episode. We got a couple more fun things to get into, but before we do, let's take a break and hear from our sponsors. Hello, Stream Fiends, as we march into the vibrant spirit of spring, where new beginnings bloom and the chill starts to wane, we want to pause for a moment of gratitude. Before we wrap up today's episode, we have a very special tradition that's as revitalizing as the first day of spring, acknowledging our super patrons. These incredible individuals support us at the $25 tier or more, nurturing the growth of our podcast like the March sun encourages the flowers to bloom. They are the roots of our community, ensuring that our creative endeavors continue to flourish. So let's give a special shout out to none other than Xander Barbarian, Aubrey Carell, Daniel Pack, Nice Guy Eddie, Taloon, Jordan Garvin, Albus Stinkpot, Haley Maddlestat, Susie Callahan, Anthony Corona, Jim E, Lady Trashley Milady, Sean Myers, Just Liz Calabria, Mike from New Hampshire, Brett X, E Scramo, Lil Tickler, Svento7, Jay Scramo, Bloth Pump, aka Ashley Ray, Adam Busby, Big Butthorn, Jair Latanovich, Kaylee Sampson, Rabbit Dog in a Barbie Car, Elbander, Charlie Friday, Alexis Adler, Peaches, Emmy, Haley B, Joe Velez, Trisha Bueller, Sun Loving Mortal, Suzanne Rode, Jadinklage Morgoon, Kalisha Reeves, Paula Garcia, Brenda, Aaron Armstrong, Kevin Strother, Ashley Powers, The Thrift Creeper, Casey McCain, and Enza. Thank you all so much for supporting Streaming Things all this time. And with that, let's get back to the episode. And we're back. We're about to get into our choice cuts, our top 3 favorite moments of the episode. Before we do, though, I just want to do a quick shout out and let you guys know we have hot, brand new Streaming Things Yellowjacket themed merch.
Fresh.
Madison is wearing the blue Yellowjackets Streaming Things sweater. I'm wearing the blue Yellowjackets themed baseball t-shirt. There's also an incredible hoodie that I don't have near me to show you, but it looks dope. It has like a really awesome
cool.
design on the back of it. That's Cuphead themed. So if you're a fan of Cuphead, the art on the back of the hoodie is inspired by that. It's really dope. Go check out our merch store and get a baseball t-shirt, a sweater, or a hoodie in the Yellowjackets Streaming Things font. It's really nice. West River Printing, they do a great job with our merch over there. So thank you to them.
Their logo that they made for us, or like the one with the girl with the fork and the knife, that is probably one of my favorite pieces of artwork. It's so cool.
It's so good. But go to the link in the show notes. I'll also put some photos of the merch up in the video if you're watching on the video. It's a lot of cool stuff. West River always comes up with some great stuff for us. But let's do our favorite moments. Madison, let's start with you. What is your third favorite moment of this episode?
My third favorite moment is Akilah's vision. I thought it was just like a cool interpretation. Like I love when shows do like out of pocket, like crazy things to just present an idea, and the visual of Coach Ben being a bridge and like just being this like oversized like giant of a figure was really just crazy and weird, and yeah, it was just a cool scene.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
Andy?
My number 3 is the rabbit sacrifice. It was fucking uncomfortable to watch. Not a fan of animals getting hurt, but I want the paranormal so fucking bad in this show.
Same.
Lean
And
into it.
That was awesome. Like they do the thing and then like the wind blows. I was like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Like, I want the trees to talk. I want stuff to happen.
Fuck that rabbit.
Fuck that
Fuck
rabbit. Would have been even better if it was a cat.
We're going to have some Hassenpfeffer tonight.
What did you just say?
Yeah, I don't like cats.
Sorry. Andy, we just lost so many patrons right now. I'm watching them drop in real time.
Me and Ken need to switch sides on the table. I don't know if I can sit next to
Cats are
Andy.
fine. I'm a dog person.
Oh, don't
but-
try and bring it back. You can't revoke what you just said.
If you want to kill the animal that you think is fine.
I'm just saying, if it was me and they had a choice of animals and I had to do it, it'd be Ellie.
True.
Actually, it was funny. So I was doing when I was reorganizing the new table and desk and chairs for the studio. It happened.
Ellie helped?
Ellie did help. Not really.
No.
But a couple times it happened where I was like, Chris was like, can I get a photo of the new studio? And at the time I was taking all the garbage out because there was a lot of trash.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, let me take the trash out and I'll give you that photo. And he's like, are you taking a photo of Ellie? It was just funny. And then like a half hour later, I made another joke. I was taking the trash out upstairs. I'm like, oh, I got to take the trash out. And she's like, and Erica said, Ellie already went out for today. So Ellie got called trash twice in 30 minutes. This poor little asshole of a dog.
She's a sweetheart. She's so cute.
The butt of the joke.
Yeah, she's a butt.
She's like, as long as I'm getting attention, I don't care.
Pretty much. But my number 3 moment was the moment of Ben's execution by firing squad when he was like, this isn't you guys. If you are going to do it, you have to look me in the eye. Because that was so hard to watch because he's like the one truly decent person in the show, really. Like when it comes to like morality, he's done the least bad, right? On a typical morality scale. I don't really blame the girls for eating people because that is a really rough situation, but he didn't partake and he's got one leg and he's been through the ringer. And so when he's like appealing to their better nature, you're like, yeah, you girls, this isn't you. You don't have to do this. And then they start doubling down. And then just like the way he kind of reverts to like, no, fuck you. Look me in the eye if you're going to do this. And then it reverts to, please don't kill me. Like it was very real.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it was so uncomfortable. And then also you get the cool stuff with Tai struggling to do it. And then that like brief little moment where it's like, oh, no, mama's got this. Sleepy time Tai don't miss. She goes to the gun range every other weekend.
Every other weekend.
Every other weekend.
I got to go to Sunday school. But Madison, what was your number 2 favorite moment?
My number 2 is your number 3, which was the Death by Fire Squad. For all the same reasons, I think Steven Kruger continues to deliver an amazing performance as this character. And yeah, it was very emotionally captivating through and through for everyone involved. Nat putting the necklace on, him begging for his life, and then Tai having like that interplay with, you know, her current self and then this other personality. So yeah, I think it was a good scene.
Nice. Andy?
That's my number 2 as well. We don't got to beat the dead horse. Yeah, it's a great scene.
My number 2 is the interaction with Melissa and Shauna when Melissa gives Shauna the knife sheath. And she's like, I love that you're not afraid to be the worst parts of yourself. Because I think it's a really cool scene in that it accomplishes a lot. So it builds on the relationship between Melissa and Shauna. It gives some further context to what Shauna's going through. And it also sort of tells the audience, this is where these characters are going. But at the same time, it makes you feel at least me, it makes you feel like, oh, Melissa is actually kind of right. Like she's come, like the best villains have a kernel of like truth to them. And I'm not saying like Shauna's the villain of the show, but I think in this season, she definitely is. But I love that they're giving that complexity to them because when she's like, you know, Jackie treated you like shit, Jeff treated you like a secret, you don't deserve that. It was like, yeah, she didn't deserve that. And Melissa's the first one that really has told Shauna that. And I thought that was a very economical, well done scene. And that's why it's my number 2.
Nice. I was building off of that scene. Did you notice that they broke the 180 rule?
Yes.
I was like, oh, shit.
Good call out. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of jarring, which whenever they do break the 180 rule, it's very jarring anyway.
Explain what the 180 rule is to people who may not know.
So essentially the 180 rule is like, it's a filming technique that helps maintain consistency in scenes. And so how Google explains it is you imagine a line drawn from the top of one actor's head to the others. And essentially you're positioning the camera so it's on one side of that line. And it's to keep the camera on the side of the line for the entire scene. And so when it's like you flip that, it's very jarring and it's like, oh, the character like transported to one side of the scene. It's just it's a very jarring, it's not very consistent with like a normal conversation.
Yeah. It's one of those things where if you do flip it, it does it gives the illusion to the audience that you've changed the location, even if you haven't. It looks very, very different. And so usually it's bad to change the 180.
Sometimes they do it intentionally.
But if you do it intentionally, which is what they did in this scene, you can do it to show that character dynamics have changed or like the emotion of the scene has changed dramatically. When you use it intentionally, it's good for that effect. But typically filmmakers try to do you're only filming people from one side of their face for an entire scene. Yeah. And you don't swap within a scene or else it looks weird.
Yeah.
Or jarring.
But anyway, because usually, again, it's a very jarring, like in having some film background, I was like, oh, like was that intentional? Was that kind of like a weird editing choice? Like, again, I don't know. But I just was like building off of that scene.
Good call out though.
Oh, thank you.
It's a great call out. I didn't bring that up.
Yeah. My number 1, I was tied for 2. It was, but I think I'm going to land on the Walter and Shauna reveal that they were like also playing as citizen detectives
in their little outfits. And I liked the interaction between Misty and Walter. It's like, oh, Shauna's your rebound. Like, you know, it was really playful. It was really cool. And honestly, that entire segment was just really entertaining. And I liked the dynamic of those 3 characters, especially Walter and Shauna. But then my other one, which maybe it's another one of yours, top choice, is between Shauna and Mr. Matthews. I think it was a very emotionally captivating scene between those 2 characters. Nice.
My number 1 is Misty bringing Ben his final meal.
Ooh, good choice.
I thought it was super funny and super sad. You know, Misty's heartbroken that she's used to winning. You know, even though she gets bullied all the time, she usually gets her way. And she's obviously heartbroken about Ben's about to be executed and stuff. And like, I think Steven Kruger's doing great work. Like, you can kind of see the life leave him when she says that they're going to shoot him at dusk or whatever. But the kind of like emotional juxtaposition of Misty saying, you know, they're going to kill you. You're a decent person. You were my first boyfriend and amputation. Saying this to a gay man. Like, this is a perfect Misty scene. And also, like, I really like Ben's moment of saying, like, you know, I'm going to be remembered as a monster.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, not out in the real world. In the real world, nobody's going to remember me at all. But to you guys, I'm going to be a monster. And like, I don't know, it's just a really interesting, like, kind of emotional pontification on legacy, you know?
Yeah.
Great scene.
Yeah, that's a great choice, Andy.
Well done. Well done.
My favorite moment is the Lottie memory scene where it's Shauna and Mr. Matthews, and Shauna kind of plays into the scenario that she's a young Lottie, because it was just a really odd choice for that character, but one that I think worked. Where she says like it's hard to love the ones the way you mean to, because I think that's something that the character does struggle with. A lot of people can argue like, well, Shauna doesn't love anything, but I think she does. I think that's not true. I think she does care for her daughter. I think she does care for Jeff, and I think in some way she does care for her friends. It's just, she's kind of fucked up. And this is the scene, I think, where that character in the present, I think, is making a turn. And it's made me more excited to see where Shauna is going to go in the future of the season. Because up to this point, I'm just kind of like, I don't know what they're doing. This is kind of, and I'm not really along for the ride. But on this, I'm like, okay, I see a roadmap and I'm happy about it. Let's go with it. And I think it was a very sweet, just these two characters that have done wrong by Lottie specifically, and the two of them in this strange scenario are eulogizing her in a strange way. And I thought it was effective. I thought it was very unique and good. So that was my favorite moment.
Good scene, yeah.
Let's move on to our Honeycombs, the scene where we pick out sort of 90s Easter eggs, anything like that. Sometimes we find some stuff, sometimes we don't. Honestly, it's a segment that was birthed from the first season and becomes less and less factual and important as the series goes on.
I feel like season 1, they really leaned into the 90s callbacks, but not as many in past 2 seasons.
Did you guys have anything?
I saw, so at the very beginning of the episode, Misty is like looking through Lottie's stuff, and I think we're in Misty's house, and in the background, there's like a Death Star stained glass.
Is there really?
Yeah, or at least it looks like the Death Star. And I was like, oh, I mean, it would make sense that Misty, I mean, she's a nerd. I assume that she likes Star Wars, or like, you know what I mean? So, totally. But yeah, I was like, oh, that's really cool. I didn't really catch that. And I hope that I'm interpreting that combination of glass correctly
for this segment.
Yeah. But so yeah, I that was pretty much it though. That's all I found.
Well, we obviously already talked about the Family Matters stuff. It's pretty chuggy to bring up, but it's it was a staple of television in the 90s for sure. The new Scorsese, I assume that they're talking about Casino. Because the dad is clearly kind of stuck in the past. He's talking about memories and stuff, or talking about meetings and stuff that obviously happened forever ago. Yeah. And so when he's talking to Shauna, assuming that she's Lottie, saying, I want you to clean your room or whatever. So the plane crash happens in 96, right? So Casino came out in 95. So I am guessing that it's either that or Age of Innocence was like 93.
Or Kundun, which was 97.
Kundun,
sorry.
Well, 97, she would be in the woods.
So you're right.
Did he have a movie that came out in 98 or 99?
99 was Bringing Out the Dead.
I'm going with Casino.
that tracks. I'm sure when they were writing it, they're referencing that one.
But that was all I had.
That's actually a good pull, Andy.
That is a good pull.
Thanks.
The Theodosian Wall. That's the only thing I looked up.
Constantinople?
That's not even like a real 90s Easter egg, but yeah, it's like some land walls from Constantinople. They were built during Emperor Theodosia II's 5th century reign to protect the city. And they're just considered some of the like best, well-made, fortified structures built. Yeah, it's a good wall. The most impressive and successful fortifications of that time period. So like history nerds are like, whoo, my toes curdled.
Scratching the history brain.
And it is fun to name your firewall after that.
That is cool. Also, this is actually in relation to episode 4, and you can keep it in if you want. But are you guys familiar with Jennifer Morrison?
Yeah, the actress.
Actress. Yeah. She directed episode 4, which is not this episode, but the episode prior. Yeah. After the episode came out, a couple of the actresses posted some behind the scenes, and there's a group photo of all of them, and I recognized the woman because I've seen Once Upon a Time. That's my only experience with Jennifer Morrison, and I was like, oh shit, she directed episode 4. That's so cool.
If I'm thinking of the right person, she was in How I Met Your Mother, and
it's this woman.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so I just thought that was cool because. I don't know, not that I don't pay attention to the directors that, direct these, but I just was like, oh, like this is somebody that, is like a well-known actress. Because most of the directors I feel like are I don't know them that.
They're just directors.
They're just directors.
Some local dicks.
But
oh yeah, she's Dr. Allison Cameron in House. Okay, that's how I know her.
But I just thought that was like a cool little tidbit.
She's Kirk's mom in Star Trek.
Oh, there you go, nerd. Fucking nerd.
Well, that's cool. I didn't know she was directing this.
Yeah,
really awesome.
you can keep this segment in if you want, but it pertains to episode 4. But
nice.
Yeah.
We'll keep it in.
Okay,
We'll keep it in.
Keep it in.
Boom. Let's move on to buzzworthy performance, our favorite performance of the episode. Madison, who are you giving the award to? The highly coveted buzzworthy performance.
I feel like we could have given it to a couple of people. I think Steven Kruger did a fantastic job.
He's killing it this season.
I think Christina Ricci is like embracing full on Misty mode in this episode. But I think I'm going to give it to Elijah Wood.
Yeah.
Playing Walter. Yeah. With characters that are like kind of in and out of the season, you know, I never know when is like, will he be back? You know, whatever. So I want to give them some praise when praise is due. And I think he did a really, really good job this episode. Again, the curling of the toes, the
penetrate this firewall.
Yeah. Just the citizen detective was really cool, very entertaining. And I liked the bits between Elijah Wood and
Melanie Lynskey.
I was gonna say Melissa Linsky. I'm like, that's not right. That's not right. But Elijah Wood.
Nice pick. I like that. Andy, what about you?
I'm going to give it to Samantha Hanratty purely for that scene, the final meal scene. It's so funny, so heartbreaking, and she crushes as young Misty at all times. And, you know, my instinct is always to give it to Christina Ricci. Always.
Yes, always. You got to fight that instinct.
Yeah, exactly. So this is Christina Ricci adjacent.
Yes.
But no, Samantha Hanratty fucking crushed.
Love Samantha Hanratty.
Those are both excellent choices. I think Steven Kruger could also be given again. I think this season I'm having a hard time not giving it to him or Christina Ricci every episode. So I'm trying to like scale back on it. So I'm actually going to give my award to Melanie Lynskey this episode.
Nice.
I think she's, you know, we've talked about like how her character's kind of in this state this season where we're not quite happy with where it is, where it's going. But I do like in this episode, her character is sort of forced to do something vastly different, work with Walter, and it works so well. The two of them have surprisingly great chemistry together. And that sweet little scene with her and Lottie's dad was just kind of like, okay, adult Shauna has some depth to her. And I think Melanie Lynskey is an incredible actress.
Oh, yeah.
Like she could be funny. She could be like just evil. She could be empathetic. She can do all kinds of stuff. She's a very underrated actress in my mind. And I think this episode reminded me like, oh yeah, she's just a star. She's killing it. So I'm going to give it to her for this episode.
Nice. Good pick.
We all nobody.
We all not a single one.
Nice.
But that wraps up this week's episode of Yellowjackets season 3, episode 5. Did Tai do that? We don't know for sure if Tai did or did not do that, depending on what that is. But thank you guys for listening. If you want to interact with the show more, you can email us at streamingthingspod@gmail.com. You can always join us on Patreon, patreon.com/streamingthings to get incredible content just like this. Midnight Mass is starting this week. Arcane just wrapped up. Equilibrium just came out. We're going to do The Lobster next. There's a poll on Patreon right now celebrating women directing. So it's 4 movies directed by women. And we got, what do we got, Andy? We got Portrait of a Lady on Fire,
Raw, Point
Love
Break,
and Basketball, and Point Break.
Nice.
All 4 directed by women. I think Point Break is currently winning, which is kind of hilarious to me.
Love Catherine Bigelow.
But Catherine Bigelow is awesome. And I'm really excited to see what wins. So if you want to be a participant in that poll, if you love democracy, join our Patreon and vote, and we'll show you that episode once the winner is announced and we record it. So a lot of fun stuff coming down the pipeline. But that's it. Do you guys have anything else to plug before we leave?
Nope.
All right. Well,
Fireball.
No more. Well, we got to return some videotapes. Thank you so much for listening to Streaming Things. My name is Steve.
My name is Madison.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Steve. And this was Streaming Things, streaming Yellowjackets. Happy streaming. Ben is cuddling with the goat.
No.
Michael Jackson.
Whoa!
Michael Jordan. Well, if Michael Jackson was going to be anywhere.
In the wilderness with a bunch of children.
Oh, fuck.
I'm going to mark that one.
Keep it in. Akilah. He's moonwalking across Ben on the bridge.
Gonna have to practice.